Here in Normandy, the rescue began. Here in Normandy, the rescue began. Here the Allies stood and fought against tyranny in a giant undertaking unparalleled in human history. We stand on a lonely, windswept point on the northern shore of France. The air is soft, but 40 years ago at this moment, the air was dense with smoke and the cries of men, and the air was filled with the crack of rifle fire and the roar of cannon. At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944, 225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs. Their mission was one of the most difficult and daring of the invasion: to climb these sheer and desolate cliffs and take out the enemy guns. The Allies had been told that some of the mightiest of these guns were here, and they would be trained on the beaches to stop the Allied advance. The Rangers looked up and saw the enemy soldiers at the edge of the cliffs shooting down at them with machine guns and throwing grenades, and the American Rangers began to climb. They shot rope ladders over the face of these cliffs and began to pull themselves up. When one Ranger fell, another would take his place. When one rope was cut, a Ranger would grab another and begin his climb again. They climbed, shot back, and held their footing. Soon, one by one, the Rangers pulled themselves over the top, and in seizing the firm land at the top of these cliffs, they began to seize back the continent of Europe. 225 came here. After 2 days of fighting, only 90 could still bear arms. And behind me is a memorial that symbolizes the Ranger daggers that were thrust into the top of these cliffs. And before me are the men who put them there. These are the boys of Pointe du Hoc. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. And these are the heroes who helped end a war.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where we celebrate the heroes of a past on D-Day, which I didn't notice. I didn't click in my head. I saw till this morning. I was looking through Twitter and I saw a couple posts, and that was one of them. Ronald Reagan celebrating some of the heroes of D-Day, which ended a war, like you said, ended a war, saved a continent, saved us from some of the nightmare that was the guy with the funny mustache. So we, tip a bottle, salute a flag, thank a serviceman, do something. But it is definitely a day where a lot of men much greater than us did what they needed to do without thinking about, not thinking about themselves, but sacrificing for the world and others on the planet. So happy D-Day. Also happy, and remind you, just D does not stand for drag. I've been seeing the drag stories all over the weekend. Holy shit. Stupid people in the world. But I'm not gonna get into that stuff today. I don't know if you've been watching social media. I think interesting Shoe on Head brought something to people's attentions, and everyone got a little. Some people got upset about it, and some people were like, "Yeah, that's fucked up." But that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, so I actually am going to talk a little bit about another German who's trying to take over the world a little bit today. That would be Klaus Schwab, and a little bit about the World Economic Forum that's happened recently. Now, Tyler Durden is I'm trying to think of where he's from normally, but he's on Zero Hedge, and he put an article out called "The Top 10 Creepiest Most Dystopian Things Pushed by the World Economic Forum." And that's what my main focus is going to be today, because I found this article to be fascinating, just some of the stuff that they talk about. I wasn't necessarily up to speed on these assholes, but I am a little bit now. And also there's one little blurb in here that you Canadians might be able to appreciate. So we'll get into that. And I got some of the stuff from the weekend. I didn't spend a whole lot of time. I have some bookmarks open. For some reason, Kyle Rittenhouse is trending too. Apparently, he said something or tweeted something to President Biden saying that the reason he's alive is because of he was able to save himself with the gun, and so everyone's just ripping into Kyle Rittenhouse. And it's like, well, he did practice self-defense, and I watched that entire trial. I'm not going to talk about Rittenhouse today, but I just found it fascinating that he's trending. There's a couple other things trending, but before I even get into any of that, I want to say good morning to the people in the chat. By the way, maybe I'll do it Friday. I surpassed 1,300 subscribers on YouTube over the weekend. I'm very happy about that. Project 10,000 or Project 10K is still in the works. Before my 1,000th episode, which is coming up around the, it'll be around the end of the year. I'm hoping to have 10,000 subs. And so over the last 28 days, I gained 40 more, which is great. So happy about that. We'll have a special show on Friday celebrating the 1,300 mark. So fantastic. Let's say good morning to everybody, though, because that's what I do. First in the chat today is our friend Somnambul Nation, who gets the bell. Thank you for being here, and also thank you for tweeting out the show. By the way, I did tweet the show out. If you haven't already retweeted me or put your own version of it out, please do. Rotten Corpse has already done that. Tyler F has already done that. Somnambul Nation, Dr. Keeverdam has already put it out. So thank you all who've already done that. That's how I grow. That's how we grow the channel. That's if you like, Also, you can watch the show at pdognight.live and chat and drop nickels in the tip jar if you want to. All right. Also in the chat today, let me say good morning. I had to finish the good mornings. Also in the chat today is our friend Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Also Tyre Alexander, Mike Savage, Blarg, Advocatus Dabbly, the Devil's Advocate. Good morning also to CNN Sucks, the most redundant name on the internet. Also Tyler F is here. Good morning, sir. Good morning to Keeverdam, Keebler, Rotten Corpse, D.I. Freighter Watcher, who else? Simon Wolfwood. I said it right. Good morning, Asan. Nice to have you here. When the times you can make it, it's fantastic. Also, my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies in the house. What's up? Attack Alpaca, the Asian Research Directorate. Let's see. Why are you so angry? Which is a name, not a question. It's just a name. Also, good morning to Man Squatch. That's a new name I haven't seen. Good morning. Welcome. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Maybe you already are because you're here. You got here somehow. I didn't bring you here, but maybe my soft, silky, dulcimer tones of my sexy voice got you here. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Don't know. Also, Ken and Hotep, what's up? you know what? Did you send me that Dom DeMarco thing? Because I meant to play that for you. But salute to you, sir, of course. Ken Hotep's going to be out in Las Vegas for the Hotep Nation convention. If you're interested, go to hotepnation.com. And we're going to be shooting guns with Canon Hotep. Canon means he's got several cannons in his home, and he's always packing. Good deal. Also, good morning to Renee Mayette. What's happening? Also, most of the men who are 18 and 19 half my age when they charged headlong into minefield, barbed wire, machine gun fire. Yeah, oh man. You know, it's funny. It's not open mic day. I got to fix that. Sorry about that. Let me just fix that now, because it is not open mic day today. Despite what that little thing blurb across the screen says. It's interesting. Saving Private Ryan? No, what's the movie where they had that really nasty D-Day scene? I think it was Saving Private Ryan. And there were some vets who said that was probably as realistic as you want it to be. Of the people charging, on D-Day. I think it was Saving Private Ryan. Where's this chatbot? There it is, Cloudbot. Let me turn that shit off so you don't have to pretend it's open mic day. It is not open mic day. Disregard. There we go. I fixed that. All right. Anyway. 18 and 19-year-olds just, basically giving themselves up for the world. So, and kudos to the one who made it, and all of them. It's a big effort. Zombie Teddy, good morning. James Colley, what's up? Ebony Williams is here. Nice to see you, my dear. Riesler, that's another newer name that I haven't seen, and you're welcome back. Also, I think that's it. So, like I said today, and by the way, it is Metal Monday, so the Super Chats and Streamlabs donations will have a metal flair to them. And we'll probably be doing my Sunday voice for that. You know me. I'm silly. It was Band of Brothers. It was, the D-Day scene in Band of Brothers was crazy. But it was disturbing in its realism. But, kudos to Tom Hanks for putting that out. Zan Wild, what's happening? Nice to see you. All right, and Aaron Meredith's in the house. All right, there's a bunch of people here. Nice to see you. But again, I'm excited I am up to 1,300 subs. But again, the project 10K means trying to get 10K before my 1,000th episode, which is, what episode is this? This is 836. So I have some to go. And Friday, again, we'll have the 1,300 episode extravaganza with, I'm trying to get a guest this Friday, who I think you like. He's a former NBA basketball player, and he's running for Congress in Ilhan Omar's district. I don't know how successful will be. We'll see what happens. But that is, we'll see if we can get him on. But if not, I'm going to have some guest Friday. It's going to be somebody. I'm going to figure it out. All right. No. You mean Saving Private Ryan? Was it Saving Private Ryan? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure. No, let's see. I think it was Saving Private Ryan. It's one of the two. Band of Brothers followed the 101st Airborne Easy Company. I've seen them both, and so I can't remember which one it was, though. Beach Landing in Saving Private Ryan. Okay, that's... I thought that was the one. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations here. From Brigida's is a restaurant in St. Cloud, Minnesota, where we went and met my son-in-law's mother for breakfast one morning, and I bought a cup because I like to buy cups from unusual places. And Brigida's is just a nice little local cafe that was really good. Had a really good breakfast there. So anyway, if you're ever in St. Cloud, Minnesota, go to Brigida's. Anyway, 30 in the room. 12 likes. Hit the like button while you're thinking about it. While I've mentioned it, you can share the stream. That'd be great. Some of you already have. And if you want to sponsor the show, up here, pdognight.live. You can go there. That's where my Streamlabs link is, where you can do that there. Or you can do super chats or whatever. I'm not particular. But you don't have to. The show's free. It just helps. But, I know it's tough times. We're going to talk about a little bit about the economy today. So let's go through a little bit of, let's go to a little bit of news. I want to keep him there. Let's make sure we don't lose that. There are some things I bookmarked this weekend. And so we'll get to those. We'll get through some other articles. Then we'll get to my main topic today, was this World Economic Forum. So where is it? Just things that were irritating to me. I bookmarked a whole lot of stuff, but I just haven't put it out here. Here's a statistic that I'm not sure if is completely accurate. What the hell? June 4th. That's what I was trying to get to. So over the weekend, wait a minute. Today's the 6th, right? Okay. Sorry, guys. What the hell? Okay, here's one of them. Okay. The other day I showed you this. I was going through Twitter, talking about Pride Month, right? And I showed you a picture of this helmet the Marine Corps put on their oh, hello, Jess. Good morning. Speaking of my son-in-law, there he is. Thank you very much, Jess. By the way, everyone say hi to the father of my granddaughter, who we love. Okay, so I showed you that picture from the United States Marines put a helmet with the rainbow bullets, and I thought it was really odd imagery for the Marines to be putting out because, it just was odd, right? Just saying like, people of the LGBT community can kill people too, I guess. I don't know. But the interesting opinion from the Washington Examiner: Marine Corps should not be pandering because of Pride Month. Despicable pandering to the LGBT crowd during Pride Month has now reached the Marine Corps. Earlier this week, the Marines sent out a tweet containing a picture of a combat helmet with rainbow-colored bullets attached. It was an embarrassment indicative of the backwardness of our country's current priorities. Moreover, the tweet is nothing more than the Democrats' latest attempt to pander to a group and create further division in the country. Throughout June, U.S. Marine Corps takes pride in recognizing. This was the tweet. Throughout June, the U.S. Marine Corps takes pride in recognizing and honoring the contributions of our LGBTQ service members. We remain committed to fostering an environment free from discrimination and defend the values of treating all equally with dignity and respect as they kill people in foreign lands. Okay, they didn't put the kill people in foreign lands part, but I just thought it was weird. And then they showed you this helmet with the bullets. And like I told you, our friend Sophane, I think I was talking to Randy Marco when I said this, but our friend Sophane was like, who are those rainbow bullets for? That's not a good imagery. Anyway, first off, there's no need to do anything like this. All Marines deserve to be treated equally. That goes without saying. And yeah, because basically it's drill sergeants yelling at you as you're going through basic training, or sergeant instructors, I should say. There's a difference between drill sergeants and a sergeant instructor. You have the platoon sergeant and you have a sergeant instructor. The sergeant instructor and the platoon sergeant the sergeant instructor and the platoon sergeant is the ones who are yelling at you all through basic training to make sure that when they say something, you don't think twice, you just do it so that you don't get your head shut off. And that's the only thing the Marine Corps should be worried about. Worrying about people's sexuality in the Marine Corps shouldn't matter. But anyway, all Marines deserve to be treated equally, and that goes without saying. They are signing up to risk their lives to defend our country. However, whoever these heroes decide to be sexually attracted to, it should not warrant any extra celebration or recognition. Because in the Marines, you're all equal. You're all freaking grunts, and that's what you do, and it shouldn't matter. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth between my own personal things and my own personal feelings and the article. By the way, good morning, Septus Wolf. How you doing? So why are LGBT Marines prioritized over, say, those Marines who chose to be abstinent or heterosexual Marines? The answer, of course, is they shouldn't be. Next, we should absolutely honor the brave and courageous men and women who volunteer to fight for their country by enlisting in the Marine Corps. They deserve the utmost respect, especially since they are doing this on their own accord and not through a military draft. They are our country's bravest and deserve to be celebrated. But this is utterly ridiculous. As stated above, being LGBT does not warrant any special or separate recognition merely because of one's sexual attraction. Someone's personal business, such as their romantic or lustful relationships, does not deserve any recognition and is not some kind of achievement. If the goal is equality, listen carefully, if the goal is equality, then the Marine Corps or anybody in the country should treat them as equals, not give them the equivalent of a participation trophy and specifically prioritize people because of their sexual orientation. The LGBT lobby has done much damage in infiltrating our country's institutions. We now live in a society that treats LGBT people as if they're some special, I missed it. As if they're some special protected species of humanity. Instead, they are normal human beings that just so happen to be attracted to people of the same sex, or in the case of the T in LGBT, suffer from gender dysphoria. All of this is not the concern of the Marines. They have one duty: to be ready for combat and to ensure all of its members efficiently protect our country from its enemies. The Marine Corps should know little about its members' romantic history. It is of no concern to them. Our government should not be making sure they are willing and able to defend. Our government should be making sure they are willing and able to defend our country, not woke and sensitive to the left-wing political agendas. No LGBT person should endure any discrimination of any kind in the military or anywhere else. Obviously, this has not always been the case, but our country has worked to rectify this mistake. However, this incessant pandering and genuflecting to LGBT people is not the answer. We should be treating everyone equally, not having special recognition because of sexual romantic differences. So I thought that was a pretty good editorial there, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. Although I am still there is still one problem that I have. They should have never, ever changed the physical requirements in the Marine Corps, particularly the Marine Corps. And I would include that in the Army Ranger divisions. Anyone who goes in that has to have, who lead in certain incursions, so I'd say, you absolutely should not have changed the physical standards, because if you got to carry out a 200-pound human being, you got to be able to do that in the field. And anytime you lower those standards, you're weakening the people in the field. You weaken the cohesion of your platoon or your squad or whatever you have, whatever unit size it is. So that's just a personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Riesler, you are an NCO in the Marine Corps. Drill instructor. Okay, drill instructor. Oh, it was a sergeant instructor in the PLC course. So when the officers go into platoon leaders course or an officer school, they'll have a sergeant instructor versus a drill instructor. They have a different terminology. So it is a drill instructor in the enlisted end of the side of the Marine Corps. Okay, thank you. That's it's been a long time since I went through that PLC course. So, and I never served, so I never ever went through normal basics. So I don't know all the terminology as well as I probably should have. All right. Moving on. Let's see. What else do I have here in the bookmarks before I go? Wait a minute. Did I leave this? Okay, there we go. So I also mentioned over the weekend the controversy of we were talking about trans people in sports. Well, we have another one. We have another, I won't call it, is it just another example of what this is causing. It just, again, it's just getting weird. And the things that we predict were going to happen are starting to happen. So in Great Britain, this might be the picture that encapsulates the issue with males in women's sports so perfectly. Two males celebrating first and second place, and the woman looking after a child in third. Now they say this is heartbreaking. Here's the thread. Proud to offer equal prizes in the men's and women's categories, which sounds lovely. Shame of the 12 prizes available, 10 were taken by men in this particular event. Not huge prizes, but that's not the point. Might be worth reading the entry rules for this race. It was specifically open to trans racers as well as cis women. That someone here says, that's not the point, whether it was open to trans racers in the women's division. If so, then it should have been a women's division, a female division, but they made it a category for cis women, non-binary people whose physical performance aligns with cis women, trans men and women whose physical performance aligns most closely with cis women. Well, that's not how it should have been. It should have been females versus, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. It's just another one though. This particular racer is the same one that they had disqualified from that competition prior, and then somehow they changed it and went back. So I thought I had the story there, but I didn't. But that's the tweet thread is enough. Also, let's see, over the weekend, there was, oh good God, oh, no.
Against tyranny and a giant undertaking.
We already did that one. I'll move this over here because I want to put FIRE, a free speech organization, has decided that they are going to spend a lot of money to promote First Amendment cases. That's great. Come on, scroll. There we go. An advocacy group that has spent more than 2 decades fighting for free expression on college campuses is broadening its effort to fight so-called cancel culture and other perceived threats to free speech across American society. The Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, also known as FIRE, is renaming itself the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression and keeping the FIRE acronym as it launches a drive to promote greater acceptance of a diversity of views in the workplace, pop culture, and elsewhere. Part of the push may challenge the American Civil Liberties Union's primacy as a defender of free speech. Well, that's because the American Civil Liberties Union is no longer defends free speech as much as they used to, and they certainly don't. In theory, the American Civil Liberties Union is supposed to be out there to protect people's rights under the Constitution, like the first 10 amendments, but they really don't like that second one, so they really are not good with that one. And they're also kind of wavering on the First Amendment. Well, FIRE doesn't do that. The Foundation for Individual, to say the least, we have not solved the campus free speech problem, but we started to realize if we wanted to save free speech on campus, we have to start earlier, and we have to do things not on campus. The group's president, Greg Lukianoff. Hello, T-Ball. What's up? Lukianoff said FIRE has raised $28.5 million for a planned 3-year, $75 million litigation, opinion research, and public education campaign aimed at boosting and solidifying support for free speech values. There's a strong belief that in not just the First Amendment, but a culture of freedom of speech, that black or white, liberal or conservative, that most Americans think you should be entitled to your own opinion and not have to lose your job over that. The voices that think free speech is a dirty word on campus or on Twitter are actually a pretty small minority. The new initiative includes $10 million in planned national cable and billboard advertising featuring activists on both ends of the political spectrum extolling the virtues of free speech, the official said. One TV spot includes former Emerson College student KJ Lynham, whose conservative group was suspended by the school's president for circulating China kinda sus stickers promoting the theory that a Chinese government lab caused the outbreak of stupid 19. Freedom of speech is our right as Americans, and we must do everything we can to protect it, Lynham says, over images of Martin Luther King Jr. and a young anti-abortion activist. Another features Montana State University student Stephen Clare, who was ordered to take down a Black Lives Matter banner from his dorm room window. If you silence people, you never get to hear the other side, Clare says. So FIRE's not an ideological free speech organization. They just using those two examples, they will fight for your rights regardless what your part of the political spectrum is. And that's, the ACLU seems to lean the other way most of the time now. It used to be very just absolutist as far as free speech, and now they've kind of allowed the woke stuff that's been going on trickle in, so they don't always defend people. Anyway, the new expansion also a challenge of sorts to the ACLU, which faced criticism in recent years for drifting from its unapologetically pro-free speech roots and taking a more direct role in partisan political fights. Many of FIRE's founders and backers are former leaders of the ACLU who have grown disillusioned with the group under its current executive director, Anthony Romero, who left the Ford Foundation to take over the storied Civil Liberties Organization in 2001. In 2020, FIRE released Mighty Ira, a laudatory documentary film about Romero's predecessor, Ira Glasser, focusing on the ACLU's work from the 70s through the 90s. Glasser served on an advisory board, said in an interview that he strongly encouraged FIRE to broaden its free speech work, in part because the ACLU seems to be abdicating that role. So this article goes on, but good. I'm glad FIRE has decided to expand, because they need you. We need someone like that out there, an organization that is more. In the 70s, remember the ACLU is the group that fought for, what was it, when, I think it was in 77 when the Klan wanted to march through Skokie, Illinois, and they were, the government were denying their permits or something like that. And as shitty as the Klan is, those assholes also have a right to free speech. Now, we have the right to shout them down. We have the right to tell them they're assholes. We have the right to tell them to fuck right off. But they do have that right in America. And in the 2000s, especially in the 2010, between 2010 and 2000, and to the present, 2010 to the present, the ACU's kind of backed off their idea that everyone should have free speech based on ideology. And so that's not good. Frank Collins was a terrible human, but the ACU was the right to defend him. Yeah. And so anyway. All right. Let's see how much time. I want to make sure I have time for this article. Recently there was a cancer study that has had a high success rate. This is in the Daily Wire. Unprecedented, remarkable cancer study leaves every patient cancer-free. I believe this is the first time this has happened in the history of cancer. This could be a breakthrough. Is Joe Biden going to be able to? Is he going to be able to come through on his promise to cure cancer? Remember that? That was kind of weird. I believe this is the first time this has happened in the history of cancer, said Dr. Luis A. Diaz, an author of the paper the New York Times reported. What? Said an author of the paper. Oh, no wonder I started in the middle of the article. Results from a small cancer trial that left every patient in remission is being praised as unprecedented and remarkable. A paper published on Sunday at the New England Journal of Medicine outlined a study of 18 rectal cancer patients who were given dostarlimab. That's a new drug, I guess, or treatment, every 3 weeks for 6 months and ended up cancer-free, including the first patient who is now 2 years out from the trial. I believe this is the first time this has happened in the history of cancer, said Dr. Luis A. Diaz Jr., an author of the paper, according to the New York Times. Dr. Andrea Sersek, an oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and another author of the paper, described a lot of happy tears at the end of the trial. While noting the study needs replication, Dr. Kimmy Ning, a colorectal cancer expert at Harvard Medical School, called the trial results remarkable and unprecedented. We initiated the prospective phase 2 study in which single agents dostarlimab and anti-PD-1 monoclonal antibodies was administered every 3 weeks for 6 months in patients with mismatch repair deficient stage 2 or 3 rectal and adenocarcinoma. The study said this treatment was to be followed by standard chemotherapy and surgery. Those who took the drug, which unmasks cancer cells, allow the immune system to identify and destroy them, according to the Times. But it did not have did not have to move on to further cancer treatments. Oh, all the patients had a clinical complete response with no evidence of tumor on magnetic resonance imaging, the paper explained. At the time of this report, no patients had received chemotherapy or undergone surgery, and no cases of progression or recurrence has been reported during follow-up. Range 6 to 25 months. No adverse events of grade 3 or higher have been reported. So that's huge, man. They did the trial 2 years and no one has tried to duplicate it. Well, I'm not sure that, that's weird. But maybe that's because this is the study period. I don't know how that works in cancer research. But obviously, many doctors are saying the findings are very encouraging. I'm just skimming through the words that people use. In response to 12 of these, the first 12 of these planned for 30 patients in the trial were remarkable and exceed what we would expect the standard of chemotherapy, with the standard of chemotherapy plus radiation. Although quality of life measure have not been reported yet, it's encouraging that some of the most difficult symptoms, such as pain and bleeding, all resolved with the use of dostarlimab. So anyway, that's good news. You pray that continues. All right. Biden made a gun control speech over the weekend or last week, and there's an interesting article in American Thinker about an inconvenient story that surfaced afterwards. Thursday night's news programs were dominated by the story of President Biden's speech earlier in the evening, in which he pressed for more stringent gun control measures. If I were to pick apart his remarks, and believe me, there is fertile ground on which to do so, I might zero in on the claim that the Second Amendment is not absolute. It was Justice Scalia who wrote, and I quote, "Like most rights, the Second Amendment, the rights granted by the Second Amendment, are not unlimited. Not unlimited has never been." Really? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed sounds pretty absolute to me, but that's just me. What matters more is that Biden's supposed quote from the late Antonin Scalia isn't quite accurate. Indeed, it changes a word that is critical to understanding the nature of the rights that the founders enumerated in our Bill of Rights. It is true that in the Supreme Court's District Columbia versus Heller decision, the learned Justice Scalia did raise questions of limitations to the nature of weaponry covered. What Scalia wrote in contrast with remarks from Tench Conch, 1775 to 1824, a political economist and delegate from Pennsylvania, to the Continental Congress, who emphatically stated that the weaponry referred to by the Second Amendment comprised every terrible implement of the soldier. Nevertheless, on the core issue, Scalia got it right and Biden misquoted him. Thus, Scalia did not refer to the rights granted by the Second Amendment. Rather, he referred to the rights secured by the Second Amendment. Yep, you caught it, man, Squatch. It doesn't grant the right. The Second Amendment secures the right. This distinction is lost on far too many Americans, including perhaps deliberately President Biden and his fellow Democrats. Our founders, in their wisdom, believed that rights such as those enumerated in the first 10 amendments to the Constitution were not granted by a beneficent government, but were God-given rights, or natural for those of you who don't believe God, that the Constitution pledged to protect. You already had the rights before they wrote the Constitution. That's what they meant when they wrote the Constitution. These 10 things, the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, were rights you had that were endowed by the Creator, or nature, for those of you who don't believe in a Creator, that you had before there was even a Constitution. This is my side. I'm not reading this right now. When it comes to inaccuracies, it's also important to zero in on Biden's call for repeal of the immunity that protects gun manufacturers from liability. This repeats a theme brought up in his State of the Union address, one that sees him advocating for the repeal of the, quote, liability shield that makes gun manufacturers the only industry in America that can't be sued, the only one, end quote. That was wrong then, and it was wrong Thursday night. The truth is that the firearms industry is far from the only industry that enjoys liability protections. Those liability protections are the same ones that keep you from suing General Motors just because a driver who smashed into your car happened to be driving a Chevy. Manufacturers are liable for badly made products, not for well-made products that are used badly. Ding! To give context to the fundamental errors in Biden's speech, overnight, another seemingly unrelated news story surfaced. It tells of the end of a manhunt for a convicted murderer who had escaped from a prison bus in Texas on May 12th. The fugitive, Gonzalo Lopez, was killed in a shootout with Texas lawmen late Thursday night after he crashed the truck he had presumably stolen from a residence in Centerville, Texas. An adult and 4 children were found dead in that residence. So far, none of the stories I've seen about this incident indicate how the family was slain or whether Lopez, who had been on the run for 3 weeks, already had a gun when he broke into their vacation cabin. Some reports say that in addition to the pickup truck, Lopez had stolen firearms from the home, but this belief has not been confirmed. I doubt that too many more details of the story will be forthcoming. In fact, I predict that this story will fade away in short order, which it has. It's an inconvenient story coming as it does on the heels of Biden's appeal for stricter limits on gun ownership and the type of firearms that citizens should be permitted to keep and bear. Reading the minimalist facts about the family's tragic demise makes me wonder if the family had actually had access to a firearm to defend against an escaped convicted murderer breaking into their residence. I wonder if they called 911. Presumably, the police arrived just at the nick of time to draw chalk outlines around their lifeless bodies. And if they did have a weapon, I wonder if they implemented Joe Biden's now often quoted advice that to protect your home, you should get a shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house, which is illegal in most places. After all, he promised that doing so would frighten away anyone trying to get in. And I wonder if the family had guns that were, as Biden advocated Thursday night, responsibly secured with trigger locks. If so, I guess they didn't manage to get them unlocked on time. But whether or not there was a gun or guns in the home and whether the family might have had at least a fighting chance against this violent criminal, the incident seems to prove something that's especially helpful to those who claim that proposals for more restrictive gun laws are not about taking away anyone's rights, but are instead about protecting children, about protecting families, about protecting whole communities. One might even say that the incident shoots holes in the gun control narrative. What this incident proves is that no matter how many laws are passed to restrict innocent people from having the means to defend themselves, criminals will always find a way to have guns, because criminals, by their very nature, neither respect nor follow the law. And it also proves that when seconds count, the police are just minutes away. So there you go. That's that article, and by the way, everything we read, everything I do, even the ones I don't get to today, will be in a single link in the tab in the description down below. I update that during the outro. We put them in a single link called a one-tab link, and that will take you to a page that'll have links to every article and tweet and picture and video or whatever that we watch today. Good morning, Maniac Man. Nice to have you around. I haven't seen you in a while. Even in other streams, I haven't seen you in a while. I think I might have seen you in Scribe. Did I see you in Scribe's, one of Scribe's streams recently? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, nice to have you back. Annalyn also. Let's see. Hello, police. Armed intruder. Well, Billy and Joey are getting donuts. They'll come by after snack time. Good luck, citizen. Very good, DI. Very, very good. So when someone shoots a shotgun loaded with slugs 2 times and kills a neighbor down the street, will they be to blame? Yeah, I remember when Joe Biden said that, I was like, you really didn't just say that, did you? To shoot the gun in the air? Anyway. By the way, how many of you have watched the movie What is a Woman out of curiosity? I know I talked about that last week. I'm just curious if anyone else has seen it. Give me, if you've watched it, if you haven't watched it, don't put anything in the chat about it. If you have watched it, give me a rating. 0 to 10, 10 being fantastic, best ever, to 0, just absolutely sucked ass. If you saw What is a Woman. Okay. Now, I know this is a Breitbart report, so always take it with a grain of salt, but California, number 1 in gun control, is also number 1 in active shooter incidents. Now, I'm curious when they made this title, because, again, California is by far the most populous state in the country, too, so it would seem that would be corresponding to its number 1 in incidents. But an FBI report on active shooter incidents in 2021 shows that California was the number 1 state for such incidents, with 6 incidents total. California is also the number 1 for gun law strength. The Mike Bloomberg affiliated Everytown for Gun Safety noted. According to the FBI, there were 61 active shooter incidents across the country in 2021, and 12 of the incidents met the definition of mass killing. California led the nation with 6 active shooter incidents. California has universal background checks, an assault weapons ban, a high-capacity magazine ban, a 10-day waiting period on gun purchases, a red flag law, gun registration requirements, a good cause requirement for concealed carry permit issuance, a ban on carrying a gun on college campuses for self-defense, a ban on K-12 teachers being armed on campus for classroom defense, a background check requirement for ammunition purchases, and a limit on the number of guns a law-abiding citizen can purchase in a given month, among other controls. Additionally, ammunition purchases are only allowed if made through a state-approved vendor. So those are just some facts. There we go. Again, California is also the most populous state, so it's not surprising me that they have the most incidents. But with their, again, all 50 states have different gun possession laws, gun purchase laws, gun transfer laws, and it would seem a lot of the ones that are being discussed in Congress, which will probably happen in some form or another, are already being tried in California. I also get the whole assault weapons ban idea when you consider that more people are killed in fistfights than by rifles. Now, granted, there aren't any mass fistfight killing events that I've heard of. I've heard of knife events, but it seems like handguns is the ones that cause the most issues. Anyway, I have a few other articles on that topic, but I'm going to skip them today. Maybe come back to them later. Let's talk about some economic news. Couple things that you might find interesting. This one from the Washington Free Beacon, titled, "Thanks, Joe! Gas prices have officially doubled since Biden became president. Yay!" More like why isn't it scrolling? There we go. On the week that Joe Biden was sworn in as president, the average price of gas was $2.38 per gallon. That price is double over Biden's tenure, shooting up Friday to an all-time record high of $4.76 per gallon. God, thank God I live in Minnesota. I can still get gas. Well, no, that's not even matter. It's over $4 here too. But I did have a coupon. Not a coupon. Like if you shop at one grocery store, you get like so much off per gallon for how much you spend at the grocery store. So I did get it for under $4 a gallon last time. I filled my tank, but still. 476 is the 5th record high under Biden. The average reached 3 records last month alone. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. What the hell was that? Zan Wild, hello. Biden, who early in his administration hamstrung domestic oil production efforts and whose allies in Congress worked to spike gas prices, wrote a Monday op-ed that blamed the Russian invasion of Ukraine for the price at the pump. Now, remember, more than almost $2 of that, well, anyway, raise in price was before the Russian invasion. But anyway, gas prices started rising in December, long before Russia invaded Ukraine. That month, the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee tweeted a graph that implied the president has power over gas prices, an attempt to give Biden credit for a 2-cent drop in November. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? I showed you that graph, and they showed this drop in price. It kind of went like this, or on your screen, it went like this, right? But the scale started at like $3.97, and then it was up to $3.99, and it showed like this almost 2% drop. It was embarrassing. Anyway, and they wrote, "Thanks, Joe Biden." Oh, here it is. Here it is. I bet this is it. Is this it? Let's see. Let's see if this is the graph. Here it is. So, where is it? Oh, they didn't show the picture. Oh, wait. Maybe it'll... is it still loading? It's still loading. Hang on. Here it is. This was it. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need the article. I just want the tweet. This is the tweet they put out back in, was it in December they put this out? Oh my gosh, why is this taking so long? I wonder if they deleted it. Well, they must not have deleted it because it was still up there. So on December 2nd, 2021, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee put this out. Thanks, Joe Biden. Now, let's look at this graph. Notice the scale starts at 3.375 cents per gallon. The scale goes up to 3.415 cents per gallon. So this 3.337 to 441. This scale of 5's roughly just over 7 cents. And they were saying, thanks, Joe Biden, for dropping the price of gas. Apparently, the president had the power to do this from $3.39 or basically $3.40 down to $3.38.5 or $3.38. So they gave the president credit for the price of gas dropping 2 cents between... Oh my gosh, this is like from November. Let's see, that's 7 days. So from November 15th to November 29th, where the price of gas dropped 2 cents. So that was the average price across the nation, $3.38 per gallon in November. In December, that went up to over $4. And then in January, when the war started in Ukraine, that started rising again. But it was over $4 a gallon before the Russians invaded Ukraine. Over $4 US a gallon, I can see the oil rig. This is bullshit. And part of it is there's a lot of factors in this, obviously. One of the biggest factors is that we don't have enough refiners, because now the oil production's out there. But there's no place to refine it. It's insanity. So anyway, all right, let me check. I'm going to check notifications real quick because I have some new ones. All right, I did. Yeah, I do. Oh, these are all things that from other things on Twitter. All right, let's move on. Okay. In other economic news, though, now, there was actually some good news in the economy over the weekend, or at least on Friday when the reports came out. Labor force participation was slightly higher in May, and unemployment rate sticks to 3.6%. Non-farm payrolls added 390,000 jobs in May. Now that was lower than the projection, but still, that's not bad news. Better than the consensus estimate. Better than the consensus estimate of 350,000. The Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics reported on Friday. With that gain, non-farm employment is down 822,000, or just 0.5% from its pre-pandemic level in February 2020. So it's getting there. It's getting there. The number of employed people increased by 321,000 to 158,426,000, and the number of unemployed people also increased. So both by 9,000, and this produced an unemployment rate of 3.6% for the third straight month. Numbers of employed Americans set 25 records under President Trump, reaching an all-time high of 158,866,000 in February 2020. So in a positive move, the labor force participation rate moved up slightly. In May, the civilian non-institutional population in the United States was 263,679,000. That included all people 16 and older who did not live in an institution, such as a prison, nursing home, or long-term care facility. Of that civilian non-institutional population, 164 million plus were participating in the labor force, meaning they were either employed or unemployed, as opposed to not being counted. Either they had a job or were actively seeking one during that last month. This resulted in a labor force participation rate of 62.3% in May. Well, everyone needs to find jobs now because everything costs so damn much. The result resulted in a labor force participation rate of 62.3% in May, up from 62.2% in April, but still a tenth of a point lower than the 62.4% achieved in March. Today's participation rate was 61.4% the participation rate was 61.4% when Joe Biden took office. Today's number, 62.3%, is still below the Trump era high of 63.4% in February 2020, just before COVID shut things down. So we're almost back to pre-COVID levels. So all those jobs Joe Biden created are starting to show up and getting back, but still. Now, the funny thing about this is Biden, over the weekend, I wish I had the clip of it, was saying that this showed that the economy is roaring and everything's going to be fine and dandy and perfect. What he failed to mention is that we had negative growth the last month. But that nobody should pay attention to that, because inflation and negative growth, even though more people are getting jobs because they have to, remember, that doesn't mean that people are employed. The labor participation rate does not mean people are employed. That means more people are also looking for work, as opposed to when they're unemployed and they're not looking for work, they don't show up in the labor participation rate. Hello, Brent Hayes. So anyway, the government shut down the work. You're right, Brent Hayes. I got you. So anyway, I think people are probably trying to find jobs, like maybe, I don't know. The number of Americans not in the labor force, no job at all, not looking for one, decreased by 211,000, settling at 99,302,000. The number of persons not in the labor force who currently want a job was little changed at 5.7 million in May. And then they go into just demographic statistics, things like that. So anyway, that is actually good news. Let's see. But now, people talking about student loan forgiveness, and this could be a problem. And let's see, this is also in the Washington Free Beacon. Okay, got to get to that other article soon. They just don't get it. Biden's student loan forgiveness push is a complete disaster for Democrats in the midterm. Well, first of all, let me remind you, because basically this is just another form of printing money, and you're going to have to, I know this sounds weird the way I put that, but forgiving student loans is you're going to put just a lot more cash in the economy, which is going to be chasing goods you can't get, and the inflation is going to be harder and harder to, go higher and higher. So President Joe Biden has said he's taking a hard look at canceling hundreds of billions of dollars of student loan debt, a decision his advisors believe would be a complete disaster for the Democratic Party in the midterms. There are a lot of people very close to the president who privately understand that this is a complete disaster for them. The Washington Post James Hohmann said of the Bulwark podcast, the Bulwark people? You mean the Never Trumper guys? The president's aides have attributed the political misjudgment to influence from left-wing Democrats, including Senator Raphael Warnock and Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. Both are seeking high turnout for the party's base in the Peach State, where they say an electoral block of former graduates from HBCUs could tip the scales. They just don't get it because they haven't spent time in the WOW counties or in Apple Valley, Minnesota, Hohmann said, referring to toss-up districts on the outskirts of Milwaukee and Minneapolis. The president is being pulled really hard by these woke leftists who believe it's all about the base. Biden canceled $5.8 billion in student loan debt on Wednesday from former students of Corinthian colleges, a bankrupt for-profit chain of post-secondary degree schools. Last week, the White House also floated loan forgiveness of $10,000 per student borrower. The debt forgiveness would add $245 billion to federal government debt, according to the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. Top 40% wage earners hold a majority of student debt holders between the ages of 25 and 40. The top 40% bears half of the total debt, meaning the richest young adults carry the most student loan debt. And are they talking about giving money to the rich? They always talk about that. Here's another problem. Beamworthy, nice. There's a new name in the chat that I've never seen. They want us to vote on gun issues. Why do they need to select our elected officials by what they feel about one issue that was already done and decided and redecided along since 1776? Good point. Hey, here's another problem. And you can read the rest of this article if you want. Here's the problem with canceling student loan debt. Any of it, period. Any of it whatsoever. And I don't think this administration quite understands this. And if you talk to a tax accountant, they will understand what I'm about to say. If you cancel student loan debt that you've taken out and you've already spent, guess what? You will owe taxes on that student loan debt in the year it was canceled. Now, let's say you're a middle income person who's so happy that you're getting your $10,000 student loan debt taken, given away, whatever he does, canceled. That's the word I'm looking for, canceled. Let's say you're one of those people, right? And they canceled $10,000 student loan debt. But you're in the 30% tax bracket. Or let's say you're in the 35%. Well, it wouldn't be in the 35%. Let's say you're in the 30% tax bracket. Guess what? Your tax bill for the year that student loan debt was canceled, you're going to owe the federal government $3,000 immediately. Like as soon as soon tax time comes around, April 15th. So I think it'd be almost, I'm against the idea of canceling student loan debt. I think, you know what? Hey, you borrowed the money. You had to think about this ahead of time. Now, they made it easy, but did you take a minute to think about how much you're borrowing and how much you're going to have to pay back? Okay. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. Yeah, maybe, but but when you get that tax bill, it's a good deal. But when you get that tax bill, Everybody would be like, oh, wait a minute, I have to pay taxes on this? Because no one thinks about that. Yes, it's a good deal, I suppose, over time. But when you get that tax bill, you're going to think, what the fuck? Anyway. It's fascinating. But I just, again, the people, like he said, the people in Apple Valley, Minnesota, I know where Apple Valley is. Those people in Apple Valley going, what the fuck's he doing? Everyone else had to pay their student down that. It's a good deal, but you're not going to like it in April. And guess what? That's when the elections start coming up. Anyway, I don't think that he should be doing that. That's just my opinion. All right, I'm going to go two more, and then I'm going to get into my main topic today. One more. Apparently, these big cities where the defund movement was going, yes, the canceling debt just shifts the burden onto other people who will just shift it right back to the people who think they have gotten out from under it. That too. The defund movement is crumbling. If you remember the defund the police movement, remember that? And apparently, it's happened in big city mayor races. People are talking about crime again. Defund the police narrative crumbles as big city Dems make fighting crime central to election campaigns. Well, why would they do that? Oh, because crime is up in double digits, sometimes triple digit numbers. And from Baltimore to Atlanta in the east to San Francisco and Seattle in the west, the Democrat candidates and elected officials are pushing the party to address crime more aggressively are largely people of color. People are melanated folks like myself. For a good 2 years now, Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media have pushed the false narrative that defunding the police is something that is supported by a majority of American people, even as poll after poll has shown that simply isn't true, including among those who woke activists suggest supported the idea the most, black folks and our Hispanic brothers. Even after some so-called moderate Democrats in swing districts blamed the party's embrace of the defund police movement for the double-digit seat losses House Democrats experienced in the 2020 elections, some, like members of the squad, have still clung to the belief that defunding the police is a winning slogan. Although the 2022 midterm elections are expected to be brutal for Democrats, some of their candidates in reliably blue parts of the country are trying out what they hope will be a winning message on police and fighting crime, singing a much different tune than what we continue to hear from the AOCs of America. Here's Alex Burge right here. My story today. Violent crime has emerged as the fuck? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. That was a distraction just for a quick second. I was like, what the fuck's that? Violent crime has emerged as a central issue of 2022 in Democratic primary season. Dem-aligned voters in cities and suburbs are suffering from rising homicides, shootings, carjackings, more, and candidates of color are ringing the alarm, like this person there. Crime is a real issue for voters in this campaign, and it should be. Tom Perez, former DNC chair turned governor candidate. The trend is clear in 2021-22. From New York City to Seattle and Atlanta to San Francisco, voters and candidates of color are shifting Democratic messages on crime. Here it is from the New York Times piece. In a Democratic stronghold like Maryland, a rise in violent crime has pushed the party's candidates to address the issue of public safety in newly urgent terms, even before the recent mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas, reignited the debate over gun control. Day-to-day gun crimes and other acts of violence were rattling the American electorate. Long seen as a political wedge for Republicans to use against Democrats, crime is increasingly a subject for concern within the Democratic Party. And the big cities that make up much of its political base. From Baltimore to Atlanta to the east, and San Francisco and Seattle to the west, the candidates and elected officials pushing the party to address crime more aggressively are largely people of color. Candidates are motivated not mainly by fear of Republican attacks, but rather by mounting outcry from Black, Hispanic, and Asian American communities bearing the brunt of the national crime wave. Alarming trends that have changed the political conversation. In Baltimore, the city is on track to record more than 300 homicides for the 8th straight year, along with the rise in carjackings, robberies, and other serious crimes. Concern about police misconduct in the city have not evaporated 7 years after the killing of Freddie Gray and police custody ignited protests and rioting, but persistent violent crime has pushed voters' tolerance to the breaking point. These quote-unquote alarming trends played a role in local elections in Democrat-run cities as early as 2021, as Democrat mayoral candidates who spoke against defunding the police in places like Buffalo, New York, won, while in cities like Minneapolis, voters rejected the woke city council's effort to reinvent the police department and turn it into a public health-oriented Department of Public Safety. Further proof of how the Black Lives Matter effort led to the defund the police has been a miserable failure. A recent poll of New York City voters showed their top 10 concern remains crime, while racial inequality barely ranks. There's a little poll highlighted by Krista Rufo there. A deeper dive into numbers show that Black and Hispanic voters overwhelmingly agree with that sentiment. As I said before, not only has defund the police movement been a disaster for Democrats politically, but it's also proved to be devastating and deadly in the cities where the anti-police rhetoric and actions have been, or by their respective city councils, has been the strongest. So, good. They're starting to figure it out. So, thank you, John Migna, for being the first sponsor of the show. You are, thank you very much. Oh, it's a super chat. By YouTube super chat. John says, finally found a dog groomer. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm just not gonna make the joke. Congratulations, John Magna, on finding a dog groomer. All right. Forgive my fellow Baltimoreans. The water is radioactive. That too. And what? You still have all 11 fingers? What does that mean? Did I miss something here? You're cool with defunding the traffic police. That's a good one. That's good with Avocado Diabli. I was kind of concerned about the little body art thing going on there on the right-hand side of the screen. All right, let's go. I'm going to skip everything else today and get to this one article that I wanted to talk about, because we saw the World Economic Forum a couple weeks ago. Or was it last week? I don't know. Tyler Durden has provided us with a list of the 10 creepiest and most dystopian things about or pushed by the World Economic Forum. And so I really wanted to go through this one today because this is weird. It's a monkey in the morning joke. Okay. I was going to say, because, one of my nicknames is Lawyer Dog, and I don't know I necessarily need to be groomed. Anyway, top 10 creepiest and most dystopian things pushed by the World Economic Forum. Now, not just in 2022, but in general. And there was a couple snippets in here that caught my eye when I read this. But anyway, when one talks about the global elite, one usually refers to a small group of wealthy and powerful individuals who operate beyond national borders through various organizations. These non-elected individuals gather in semi-secrecy to decide policies they want to see applied on a global level, also known as globalism. Hello, what's your name? How you doing? The World Economic Forum is smack dab in the middle of it all. Indeed, through its annual Davos meeting, the World Economic Forum attempts to legitimize and normalize its influence on the world's democratic nations by having a panel of world leaders attending and speaking at the event. A simple look at the list of list of attendees at these meetings reveals the organization's incredible reach and influence. The biggest names in media, politics, business, science, technology, and finance are represented. So this shows just some of them. The list here, a couple notable names. Sam McCracken. I wonder if he's related to Phil. Anyway, according to mass media, the Davos meetings gather people to discuss issues such as inequality, climate change, and international cooperation. This simplistic description appears to be custom-made to cause the average citizen to yawn in boredom. But the topics at the WEF go much further than equality. Now, let's just go through the top 10. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Number 10. This is the top 10 most kooky ideas by the World Economic Forum. Creepiest and dystopian. 1. Penetrating governments. The least one can say is that Klaus Schwab, the founder and the head of the WEF, is not a fan of democracy. In fact, he perceives it as an obstacle to a fully globalized world. Yes, what we need is another German person talking about a one world government. But anyway, in the 2010 WEF report entitled Global Redesign, Schwab postulates that a globalized world is best managed by a self-selected, let me repeat, self-selected coalition of multinational corporations, governments, including through the UN system, the UN, perfect, and select civil society organizations, CSOs. This is the exact opposite of democracy. He argued that governments are no longer the overwhelmingly dominant actors on the world stage, and that the time has come for a new stakeholder paradigm of international governance. For this reason, the Transnational Institute described the World Economic Forum as a silent global coup d'etat to captured governance. In 2017, at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government, Schwab blatantly admitted what he is continually dismissed as a conspiracy theory by the mass media. The WEF, World Economic Forum, is, quote, penetrating governments around the world. That's what he said. Here he said, what we are proud of, and that we penetrate the global cabinets of countries with the WEF, young global leaders like Trudeau. Oh, Canadians, listen up. In fact, here it is. Here's the full quote. Okay, here's the full quote. I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel and even Vladimir Putin, and so on. They all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, the President of Argentina, and so on. Now, if you didn't hear what I said, but what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau and President of Argentina, and so on. We penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday, I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of his cabinet, or even more than half of his cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France with the president, a young global leader. So oh my God, they're putting their own people into national governments. He doesn't actually talk like that, does he? Well, he kind of does. He has that German accent. And that's my best German accent. Anyway, in this outstanding talk, Schwab blatantly stated that Angela Merkel of Germany, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Justin Trudeau of Canada, and Emmanuel Macron of France were groomed by the World Economic Forum. Not that kind of groomed. He even adds that at least half of Canada's cabinet consists of representatives sold to the WEF's agenda. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the absolute truth, confirmed by the head of the WEF himself. Number 9. Controlling minds using sound waves. In 2018, one of the topics of discussion at the World Economic Forum was mind control using sound waves. There's an article about it linked in this article. I did not alter this title for sensationalism. Those are the exact words by the World Economic Forum. In the article, the technology is touted as possible treatment for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. However, the article also states that it can cure you, it can get you addicted, and it can kill you. It can also be used to completely control a person's mind remotely, the article states. In the conclusion of the article, nobody can stop scientists from developing this technology to prevent misuse. It should be regulated by organizations such as the World Economic Forum. That's convenient because some companies developing this technology are part of the World Economic Forum. Do you see where this is going? Now, I skipped part of that paragraph. You can catch the rest yourself. Number 8, pills that contain microchips. By the way, thank you, John Magna, for another deuce. Toasters for all, of course. Everybody needs a toaster. All right, thank you, John Magna, for sponsoring the show. You too can sponsor the show at, it's over there. It's over there, pdognight.live or Super Chat somewhere over there somewhere. Anyway, pills that contain microchips. Once again, this title sounds like a far-fetched conspiracy theory, cleverly worded for sensationalism. It is not. Here's a video from WEF's 2018 meeting where Alberto Borla, the CEO of Pfizer, talks about pills that contain microchips. He says, I'll just read what he said. FDA approved first electronic pill. He has a Spanish accent. I'm not going to do it. If I can call it that, it's basically a biological chip that is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet, it dissolves in your stomach and sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that. The compliance. Catch that word? The compliance. Hello, GDSOB. The compliance. The insurance companies would know that the medicines that the patient should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field. So putting a chip in a tablet to make sure that you took it. In this field, is this field truly fascinating or utterly dystopian? As Borla himself said, imagine the compliance. This is the kind of technology it could easily open the door to all kinds of nefarious applications. Since then, COVID put Pfizer in a position of power never seen before for a pharmaceutical company. By the way, there's those 50, 70, whatever, 1,000 pages of notes that they have to present to the world or whatever that the government wouldn't, the courts would not let them delay. Oh boy, there's some stuff about those coming up. I'll tell you about that later. Thank you, Tyler Alexander. Tyler Alexander, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. He says, you know what I forgot to do? Well, I don't have time. I want to make sure I get through this article. Tyler Alexander says he wants to appoint kings. Yes, very democratic. I would sooner destroy my country before I allow it to become a province of another nation. Yea, it is better a short life standing tall than a long life on your knees. Fuck this bratwurt-loving cunt. Yes, that's those are some strong words, but very apropos. Number 7, praising massive lockdowns. In 2020 and 2021, cities around the world were subjected to massive and drastic lockdowns, causing job losses, suicides, drug overdoses, isolation, mental health issues, domestic abuse, bankruptcies, and homelessness. During this horrific period, children could not attend school for months and were essentially barred from interacting with other children. A slew of small and medium businesses was destroyed while large corporations thrived. Despite all this, the World Economic Forum could not hide its love of drastic life-destroying lockdowns. In fact, it released a video surrealistically called "Lockdowns Are Quietly Improving Cities Around the World." Holy shit.
Your life makes me sad.
Here, you can watch that video, but the video states lockdowns significantly reduced human activity, leading to Earth's quietest period in decades, while showing dystopian images of empty cities and planes stuck on the ground. Completely ignoring the immense human suffering caused by these lockdowns, the World WEF considered it was all worth it because carbon emissions were down 7% in 2020. When this thing was first posted, it garnered intense backlash, so the WEF deleted the video above and posted this tweet, quote, "We're deleting this tweet. Lockdowns aren't quietly improving cities around the world, but they are an important part of the public health response to stupid 19. As you can see, despite deleting the video, the WEF kept praising lockdowns. That's because they would love to see COVIDian life become permanent. Number 6, they want to take a peek at the future. Judging by comments on YouTube and social media, people absolutely hate videos created by the World Economic Forum, but they keep coming because they don't care what you think. Truth? What's it say?
You know the thing.
Anyway, they just want to plant their seed of insanity in your mind in a video titled How Our Lives Could Look Soon. There's another article about that. He links. The WEF invites viewers to take a peek at the future, and it is bleak. It's all about making stupid 19 life permanent. And this is the 5 ways. You're going to have to watch these videos on your own. The video is filled with masked people, Purell dispensers, and QR codes. This is the future they want. Then there is this nugget of insanity. The video proudly says NASA has invented a system that can ID you from your heartbeat using a laser. Yay. As if that wasn't enough, the video shows children stuck at home being schooled through screens. The video ends by showing people wearing masks outside like crazy people. Number 5, pushing for the Great Reset. Oh, am I allowed to say that out loud on YouTube? I don't know. As stated above, the World Economic Forum perceives the pandemic as an opportunity. Yay! It is not only an opportunity to reshape our personal existence, but to restructure the entire world structure according to its principles. Because, they can decide for you. They'll decide everything for you. The World Economic Forum calls it, quote, the Great Reset. To promote this reset that absolutely nobody wants, the World Economic Forum released a propaganda video. It really fits the definition of propaganda. Here it is in all of its insanity. Maybe we'll spend tomorrow watching these videos. Anyway, now when Tyler posted the article about the video in 2021, the comments were not yet turned off, and took a screenshot at the top ones. This feels like the most overt propaganda I've seen in my lifetime. So many are calling for a great reset. No, the elite is calling for it. This is terrifying. Nobody wants a reset or your version of a better world. So anyway, nobody liked it. This short video managed to contain an incredible amount of subversive messages. It even ridiculizes conspiracy theories while astoundingly confirming these theories. The video also announced the death of capitalism. Yay. While capitalism is based on self-regulating systems to offer and demand, the Great Reset looks to redefine the way that business are evaluated through new parameters. The main one, compliance with the elite's social and political agendas. Oh, far out. Towards the end, the narrator utters this enigmatic sentence, quote, and that's all about getting the right people in the right place at the right time. Huh. Hey, Canadians, guess who you have in the right place right now? You guys got to get rid of that guy. Now, while the video doesn't quite explain what this sentence actually means in real life situations, its implications are rather chilling. Instead of allowing successful individuals and businesses to grow organically, the elite system would interfere to get the right people at the right place in the right time in accordance with its agenda. In other words, the system would be rigged, and compliance with a wider agenda would be mandatory in a new economy. Take your pill, biatch. Number 4, recalibrating freedom of speech. Yes, Susan herself was there talking about this. An easy way to identify world leaders who are groomed by the WEF is through their incessant railing against free speech. They absolutely hate it, and they constantly are calling for the internet to be censored and highly regulated. At the 2022 Davos meeting, Australian e-safety commissioner Australia has an e-safety commissioner? Far out. Julie Emmon Grant stated that we need a recalibration of free speech. Hey, Julie, fuck off. Grant said this, quote, "We are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online. You know, the freedom of speech and the freedom to be free from online violence." End quote. Free from online violence? Bitch, shut the fuck up. Here, Grant essentially calls for censorship. She even believes that freedom of speech as a human right should be recalibrated using online violence as an excuse. There is no such thing as online violence, bitch! They love to equate speech with violence. It's an extremely manipulative way of justifying China-style censorship. Oh! Free speech is in fact binary. It either exists or it doesn't, and they clearly don't want it to exist. Number 3, tracking your clothes. The World Economic Forum wants to control your clothes, and they've made a video about it. Did I mention these people absolutely hate, or that people absolutely hate the World Economic Forum videos? Here's another one that got people's blood boiling. So I'm not playing it because I don't have time, but maybe we'll go through some of these tomorrow. Using the environment as an excuse, as usual, the World Economic Forum announced the coming of clothing laced with digital passports. Yay! That can be tracked and traced at all times. Backed by, guess who? Microsoft. These garments will apparently flood the market by 2025. According to the World Economic Forum, these chips will allow fashion brands to resell their clothes. I have no idea how that would work. The video makes sure not to mention that this technology would be a great way of tracking those who ditch their smartphones. By ditching your smartphone, because ditching your smartphone might become impossible. Oh, and then again, number 2, speaking of smartphones will be in your body by 2030. At the 2022 Davos meeting, Nokia CEO Pekka Lundmark claimed that by 2030, quote, smartphones will be implanted directly into the body, end quote. This would coincide with the coming of 6G technology, which is expected to be launched by the end of the decade. For years, this site has been documenting the elite's incessant push for transhumanism, which is the merging of humans with machines. They're looking to accelerate this transition by making things people cannot live without, such as smartphones, available in transhumanist form. Are you noticing their creepy eagerness to insert things inside our bodies? They're just like the aliens. Oh, well, maybe not just like that, but anyway. And the number one most creepy and, what did they say? Creepy and dystopian thing pushed by the World Economic Forum. Number 1 is you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Bitch. This is probably the most dystopian moment in World Economic Forum history. In 2016, Ida Auken, a member of the Parliament of Denmark, said, quote, Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. The World Economic quote, the WEF loved that quote so much that it tweeted about it right here. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. They've also created a video that everybody absolutely hated titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030. Here's a screenshot. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The article on the WF website explains, quote, I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes, writes Danish MP Ida Auken. Shopping is a distant memory in the city of 2030, whose inhabitants have cracked clean energy and borrow what they need on demand. Borrow what they need on demand. It sounds utopian until she mentions that her every move is tracked, and outside the city live swaths of discontents, the ultimate vision of a society split in two. That's not dystopian at all. In this dystopian future, there are no products you can own, only services that are rented and delivered using drones. This system would make all humans completely dependent on the World Economic Forum-controlled corporations for every single basic need. There would absolutely be no autonomy, no freedom, no privacy. You'll all be happy. Don't worry. Doom, 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 be happy. Doom, 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 doom. Honorable mention, individual carbon footprint tracker. That's what you need, an individual carbon footprint tracker. At the 2022 Davos meeting, Alibaba Group President J. Michael Evans announced the development of an individual carbon tracker. Yay! An individual carbon footprint tracker to monitor what you buy, what you eat, and where and how you travel. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be fucked. Oh, wait a minute. He's one of those leaders. Never mind. Once again, the WF uses the environment to promote the micromanagement of human behavior. Evans says that the tracker can monitor where they're traveling, how they're traveling, what they are eating, and what they are consuming on the platform. Notice that he used the pronoun they and not we. See, because there's no way in hell he's going to use that thing. Me neither. But they will be able to track you, and we won't be able to track them. We'll have no power over them. We will not be able to vote for them. We will not be able to vote against them. They are going to be watching we. So in conclusion, I'm just going to read the conclusion, then I'm out of here. Upon reviewing this list, 2 common themes become obvious. The first theme is penetration. I hope I don't get a strike for saying that. Anyway, if you know my story about my strike, you'll know what that means. The WEF wants to penetrate governments using global leaders, a.k.a. Manchurian candidates, Justin Trudeau. It also wants to penetrate our bodies through pills, microchips, and vaccines. It also wants to penetrate our minds using sound waves, censorship, and propaganda. The other theme is control. They want to control what we think, where we go, what we do, what we eat, what we wear. Do you know who agrees with the World Economic Forum? China.
China is asshole.
Censorship is widespread. A social credit system controls people's behaviors, and stupid 19 is still used as an excuse for massive lockdowns and total population control. Not to mention the literal concentration camps. Despite all of this, China officials are constantly present at the WEF meetings. Why? Because it's their utopia. No. Why? Because China is basically a laboratory for the WEF policies. With all that being said, how can we counteract the WEF's insanity? How can we vote them out if they were never voted in? The first step would be to elect at all levels of government representatives that want nothing to do with these assholes. Okay, he used different wording, but whatever. If our election officials treated the World Economic Forum as the rogue, illegitimate organization that it is, its influence would be greatly reduced. Well, sorry, Canada, you have one of their cronies. Second, we can boycott every company that is part of the World Economic Forum. I realize this is easier said than done because many of these companies are virtual monopolies. However, if we stop giving them our money, well, they'll stop using our money to poison our lives. Then they'll own nothing, and we will be happy. Doom, 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 doom. All right, gang. That was the one I wanted to talk to you about today. So if Check Your Logic comes around, he'll know what I meant by you should be concerned. You should be concerned about the World Economic Forum, but you should be concerned about a lot of shit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to go. Thank you for joining me today. I'm congratulating myself for the 1,300 subscribers now. I'm excited about that. And we'll keep it going. Help me keep it going by sharing this stream before, during, after the stream. Also, if you would pop that like button. 36 people right now, but there's only 22 likes. Fix that, please. I appreciate it. Also, share the stream. I said that. If you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section. And thanks for the sponsors today, or sponsors, John Migna and Tyler Alexander. You are great Americans. Brutus, I see you there. Welcome. You have to go backwards and watch the rest of the show. And I think, did I say everything? Did I sell that YouTube shit you got to say? I think I did. Anyway, I got to go because, I got other employment waiting for me. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Tell your friends, Project 10K is in effect. Everyone have a fantastic day. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.